Saifa, you are very welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. Very, very excited to talk to you. I have been following you for a while now and I love your free spirit. I really do. You're just unapologetic you and I love it.
Thank you.
I know.
No, awful. I'm just like, I'm so uncomfortable. Thank you. I hear you.
I want to start with asking you, how are you?
I'm good today.
You're good today?
I'm good today.
What have you been up to today?
I just went to an AA meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So, that's all I needed. I'm good for the moment.
I love that. With entrepreneurs, it can look a lot of the time like everything's going well, especially if they're active on their Instagram. They're doing this today, they that tomorrow, they're excited for this, they're excited for what's to come. And a lot of it is fake it till you make it. A lot of it is just kind of hoping all these things that they're preaching and putting up on their socials are going to come true and it'll be their reality sooner rather than later. You clearly don't buy into it. You clearly don't live by that.
Yeah.
You're you clearly, by the looks of it in my eyes, you make a conscious effort to show exactly what your day looks like every day.
Yeah.
What is the process behind that? Is there any thought behind that, or are you just...
Yeah. So no, there is no process behind it. Like I don't really see the point of the highlight reel. Do you know what I mean? I don't really get, like, I don't know why people just put up the highlights.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has bad days. Everyone has awful days. Everyone has days where they just want to throw it all away, I'm pretty sure. But I just say that as well. And it creates a community with the people that follow me and I follow.
Yeah.
And it's like, Instagram and everything's so fake, but like, actually, I have such a good community with my customers and like my followers that like, I wouldn't have it any other way. And it creates like real connection, I suppose. So it's not just like me talking shite all day. Like it's actually building rapport, which I think is really nice.
Yeah.
And support.
Absolutely. And that's what I love. And you're one of the first businesses that I've seen be really open and honest in that way. Because like I have so many times where I want to come on to my Instagram and just have an absolute rant. I would never do that on my personal page because I have way more followers on my business page. I talk to my clients on that page, whereas they might not follow me on my personal page. But then as soon as I'm like, I think it's as well because I work by myself and for myself, I don't have a lot of people that I can talk to day to day. Mm-hmm. So the only way I can connect with my clients that I've become friends with is through my Instagram. But then something stops me most of the time and I'm like, no, that's not professional. Why? Like,
but what? Like, I think if you're your own boss, who's going to give out to you?
Yeah.
Who's going to tell you, no, this is not right. This is what you shouldn't do. I'll be nice. I'm nice to people. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. And like people have this like, oh, Karen's cookies kind of thing. Like, approach. No, I'm nice to you, but if you're going to be a cunt, like I'm going to be a cunt back. Like I'm still a person. Do you know what I mean? I'm not just my business. I'm someone that's struggling on a day to day, and I get in bad moods and I have bad days. So like, I'll put that aside. When there's something wrong with my cookies or they didn't come or blah blah, I'll be there, sure. But like if you're gonna just talk shite, like good luck. I don't care.
Yeah.
I know the customer is always right to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So like I don't mind kind of like just being me because that's what got me to where I am today is that people saw who I was.
Yeah.
And people really. Like, I've gotten so many messages from people that are struggling with, like, mental health, with addictions and stuff. And even if I help one person for being raw, sure, that means a lot to me, like.
Yeah.
So, people empathise with the situation. And I'm sure there's other people in, like, the lash industry that are probably like, oh, I find that as well with clients. Or, like, I find that I struggle with that as well. It creates community, I feel.
Absolutely. I loved the video you made of your lowlights of 2023. I thought that was amazing. And I was one of those people who made my year in review, 2023. Yeah. All the fucking highlights, all 10 of them. Yeah. But there was 1,000 things that didn't go right. And when I saw yours, I was like, that's original. I'm a victim to the fucking highlight. I was like,
no, but like you should embrace your celebrations and like slay if you did great things. But it was my first year in recovery, and the reality is that's not going to look cute. Like it was hard, and I don't want to like. I found it hard, but it was nowhere near how bad it was when I was in active addiction. So like it was hard and it was really shit. And I went through a lot, but like also like pat yourself on the back if you did do great things. I just struggled a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are clearly a fucking warrior. Sorry for the compliment. But, you know, like in that video, it's been your first year in recovery, giving up alcohol, drugs, your struggle with mental health. You had your truck stolen at one point. That hit me hard. I was like, yeah, okay, she's battling alcohol and drugs, but her truck got stolen.
Yeah. Really dark times. Like my dad was sick, and just like living life on life's terms just really beat me around. But I think it created a really strong base for my recovery, and that like what life throws at me, I don't need to pick up a drink, I don't need to pick up a drug, and I don't need to run away from it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of liberating.
Yeah.
Because I get to feel my emotions, and I've been running away from my emotions since I was about 14, 15. So I'm grateful today.
Yeah. When did your struggle with your mental health begin?
Early.
Does it go back to childhood?
Yeah, so there was a big culture clash between, so my mom's Indian, dad's Pakistani.
Yeah.
I was born here, and there was a lot of like culture clash. So like the way we were brought up, let's just say, you know, if it was nowadays, there would be, you know, two-step would be at the door.
Yeah,
It just wasn't. Look, it was what it was. Yeah. And you know, it was a lot of trauma and stuff like that, and like, there was abuse, sexual abuse from outside, but because my parents were so strict, I couldn't tell them about it.
Yeah.
So
were you scared?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually didn't come out with that until I was in my 20s. So like, you know, I was running away from myself through relationships, through drugs, drink.
For nearly 2 decades.
For a very long time. I first started self-harming when I was in 6th class. And I remember going into school with arm warmers, and like the girls in school would be like, oh, why are you in emo? Like, you're so weird. It's like, as a child who's like 12, doing that to herself, I get real emotional thinking about it. Like, what the fuck, man? I went through. I feel bad for Saifa when she was 12. Do you know what I mean?
I completely get you.
And yeah, so I was running away, whether it was to drink, drugs, self-harm, since 12. Like, I remember cutting at 12. And then when alcohol came into my life, I was like, wow, this just blunts everything. This just numbs everything. It was class. And it also helped me fit in, because obviously as a person of colour, I feel different.
Yeah.
Like, and it was made clear to me, because like there were comments made in school, there were comments like on a day-to-day walking down the street, like slurs thrown at me. But drinking with friends just made me fit in.
Yeah.
So the escape and the solution for me was just there. Yeah.
I totally get that. I had my first drink when I was 15, and I remember for the first time in years, I felt something, and I felt really happy, and it was like I had those first few sips out my nagging, and I was like, oh, all my troubles melted away. And like I said before we started recording, I haven't suffered to the extent you have, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend I have.
Yeah.
But I have experienced that, having that drink and the release and the just feeling like you're can manage while you've had that kind of high.
Yeah, exactly.
From drink, and all your troubles melting away. Which is why when I hear, I try and, when I've had conversations about addiction with people, and they've been like, you know, how can they do that to their family, and how it's so selfish, and you know, what makes a person do drugs? And I'm like, if you have been in numbness, in so much pain for years, and someone says, you take this tablet and you're gonna feel good, even just okay
Yeah.
for 4 or 5 hours,
Yeah.
why fucking wouldn't they?
Exactly. And that is a great way of explaining it. And that's the thing, like, you get sucked in and you don't even realize the person you become in addiction.
Yeah.
Saifa, like now, and Saifa then, two different people. Because the drink and the drugs made me a terrible person. It made me an awful partner, made me an awful daughter, made me an awful friend. And I get sad again thinking about that, but like, I mean, the gift of recovery, that I don't need to be that person today and I can change and make amends and be a better person. I mean, that's a gift that I get a second chance to like prove myself.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked a little bit about your background. Your dad is Pakistani.
Yeah, mom's Indian.
Is Indian. When you were a kid, so you obviously experienced racial slurs being shouted at you, and it's weird when you were a kid who like saw other kids who didn't exactly look like you. I never would have thought to like slag them for it. It's so fucking weird. But what would that have been a big factor in triggering, say sadness or something like that?
I say subconsciously it impacted me, because like I was so young and it was weird to me that like, why am I being told to go back to India? Like I don't get it. Like it was so confusing.
Yeah.
But like hindsight and like kind of growing, it's like, oh, she was slagging me. Like she was making me feel indifferent. And then like coming into like 16, 17, I don't know if you remember Ask FM.
Yes. I was a victim to it a few times.
Yeah. It was dark. I
remember people used to get annihilated.
Yeah. And this is one of the things that like stuck with me. It's like one of the girls, it eventually came out who it was. It was someone in my class. But just like I heard your school got blown, like the school that I was in got blown up by you, and just like mad shit. Like, like, don't get me wrong, I acted out. I ended up hitting the girl because I was just like, you fucking racist.
Yeah.
Like, and that's not the right way to act out either. Like, but
how young were you?
At the time, I was uneducated on how to respond to these kind of things.
Yeah. And no child of that age should know or need to know how to respond to those things.
Yeah. But it was all very new and it was pretty hard. Like, I think it probably, but that's where I mean, like, the drink became a way of fitting in.
Yeah.
A lot, subconsciously.
Yeah.
And it's only after that you can see that's one of the reasons why I picked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the time, I kind of just got on with it.
Yeah.
I had too much other stuff on my shoulders that I was running away from, that this stuff was just, you know?
I know as you got older and your drinking habits got worse, you started to struggle with seizures.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the kind of straw that broke the camel's back? Was it? What was it?
So, yeah, like things were really bad for a couple of years with drink. I remember coming home from like work and stuff and like drinking out of a bag on the bus home, and like even that, I didn't see a problem with this.
Yeah, it was your normal.
Yeah, and then like partners would be like, say, you need to like previous like exes, you drink too much, you need to stop, you need to slow down. Mom, you need to stop, you need to slow down. Dad, you need to stop, you need to slow down. None of it. So I just drink like everyone else.
Yeah.
And then I got into a new relationship, and there was drug use, a lot of drug use, and seizures started happening. And the insanity of addiction was when I'd come out of hospital, I'd be back in the pub. It made no difference to me. And I was in and out of hospital. I was like, I got resentful at myself. Like, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Like, I'm drinking and drugging like everybody else. Like, I'm just living my life. Why is my body failing me?
Yeah.
And with the mental state I was in at the time, I was like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if I die young, I'm going to die young. My life is written for me already. Like,
yeah. And I used to say that as well. I used to be like, well, I won't care, I'll be dead.
Yeah. The selfishness of it all, it was insane. And it kind of just came to a kind of realization. Like, I remember I was out with one partner at the time. I had a seizure, and like, you know, it was a couple of weeks later again, and he was already out getting bagged for us again. Do you know what I mean? And he witnessed that, and it was toxic. But I remember just being in a doctor's office one day, a neurologist in Vincent's, and he goes, "You need to go to rehab if you can't stop." And I was like, "Am I that bad?" And then I realised, you know, hindsight again, that Jesus, the insanity, that I was literally falling, body seizing up, and I didn't think I was that bad. And I was still going out, and I was still chasing a high. So I ended up in a treatment centre, and when I was faced with everything that I'd experienced without the ability to escape, I understand. No wonder I was in the position that I was in.
Yeah.
So that's when I realised, I need to stop. Like,
when did the Drunken Cookie come into it?
So the Drunken Cookie actually happened. I was in a 8-year relationship, and we broke up, and I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. And outside the relationship, I was boozing pretty heavy. So I was working at marketing, and in marketing at the time, and I lost my job because I was drinking and hungover all the time, crying and stuff. So I lost the boyfriend, lost the job, and I went up in my SSRIs, but I was drinking at the same time because I have borderline personality disorder.
Okay.
And there was a rock bottom hit. I didn't lack identity crisis, loneliness, disconnection from everybody, and I just wanted to give up. So I actually, because I felt like I had nothing for me, like all material things were gone, physical things were gone. There was no inner peace. So I did try take my own life, unsuccessful. And when I came out of hospital, my brother was like, "You have to have something to live for. You have to have. There's got to be something keeping you here." And I was on another planet, like I was delusional. I just tried ending my life, and I was like, "Oh, I've got nothing else to lose. Like, I'll just start selling cookies," and it kicked off.
And it's working.
And it's working, and it's the honesty behind it all. And people love the honesty, and that's probably why I'm so open to being so open on social media. Because if I wasn't so open, I'm just another cookie company.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the honesty is to myself, but also to everyone around me, has got me to where I am today.
It's what makes you so special, you know, because you are your brand.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And I'd never want to be corporate. And I remember when I first started, like, I sent out boxes to people in the Irish Times and blah blah blah, and they're like, "We'd love to talk about this, but we can't because it's too much for social media. Like, you're too against the grain and stuff like that."
Really?
Yeah. And look where I am today. Like, it's just it brings me such happiness. Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah. And so many people told me, like, you can't have that as brand. You can't do this. It's too much. Like, you need to dumb it down. You need to pull back. You can't post this. Don't do that. And I just was like, that's not me though.
Yeah. Well, that's what I love about your social media, and why it excites me is because if you, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but if you got a social media manager to look at your Instagram, they would say everything is wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you
Absolutely.
know?
I know that, like.
Yeah.
And I've been told it. But, like, then it's not my brand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But also, who cares, because you've clearly defied that.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
But then also, like, why would you want to be an entrepreneur and own your own business if you have to abide by rules? Is that not the point? That's why I wanted to be an entrepreneur, because I was just sick of always having that someone a little bit higher than me to say no.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. And it's so nice, the liberty of, like, posting what I want today and, like, saying what I want, saying how I feel. Yeah, it can be a little bit of, like, impulsive and reckless honesty, which is something I'm trying to learn, which is why I stopped doing my podcast.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to learn the barriers and try to find peace in that middle ground, that I'm not so chaotic and I'm not just blurting everything out, but I have some composure and find, like, peace in the middle, which is just a journey, and I'm riding that journey.
Yeah.
So I don't always get it right. I'm not always so, like, I'm just trying to pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that's just who I want to be.
Yeah.
I want to be calm.
Yeah.
I want to be peaceful.
So, yeah. So the name of the Drunken Cookie, this might be a stupid question, I presume it comes from
Yeah.
struggle with that. Is
Addiction.
That, yeah, with addiction. Okay.
Yeah. Because when it was happening, I was just like, I'm the drunken cookie. Like, it was a funny, it was like, ah. And then, like, you know, when I came out of treatment, I was like, oh, you should call it the sober cookie. And I'm like, nah, like,
No.
it's part of who I am. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of who I am.
No.
Not today.
And you never should be. What's your setup at the moment? How does it work? Do you have a team?
Yeah, so I don't really know, to be honest. So
because I have no clue how a cookie company works, and it's so intriguing to me.
That's interesting. This is pretty straightforward, actually. So I have a production kitchen in Ballymount.
Okay.
We bake all the cookies and we ship from there through DPD, so we deliver anywhere in Ireland.
Yeah.
And then we bake the day before if we go to a market. So we have a van with our gazebo, all of our equipment. We bake the day before, and the guy drives out, sells cookies, and that's it. And yeah, so like I'm trying to go to Dubai at the moment.
Yeah.
Set up over there.
Amazing. Because I saw you were in Dubai recently.
Yeah.
So what's the process of, like, Jesus, it's one thing setting a business up in a country where you are, but setting it up in a country where you're not.
Yeah.
How's that working?
Funny enough, when I was over in Dubai, I was like setting up my business, everything was great. I was going to move over there with my partner and everything was great. And then all of a sudden we were in Iceland and he broke up with me.
I saw him on your reel.
We were in Iceland away with his friends. Insanity. Break up with me before.
Why?
Break up with me after. I don't know. I think it was an insane thing to do, especially when I don't have my resources.
That's fucking horrible.
It was insane. And like a couple of days before, like, we're going to work through everything, babe. Like a month before, babe, I'm saving for a ring. You know, like, it was literally, I was so blindsided by it. I just thought it was another fight. I thought everything was going to be okay. Like, we had each other's names tattooed on each other. Like, he came with me in January to Dubai. We were like, this is it. Like, do you know what I mean? This is our future.
And that could have been a real setback.
Absolutely. I was going to relapse. I was going to kill myself. I was really going to throw it all away. Because the BPD as well, the extremes, the abandonment, how was he leaving me? I went to such a dark place. Such a dark place.
That's really, really hard, because I don't know if you can relate to this, but I love my routine. I'm at my best when I know I'm going here. You know, when I'm away in a foreign country, the first 2 days, I am always anxious. I'm always a bit on edge. Whether I'm by the pool, it doesn't relax me anymore because I'm getting to my surroundings. So I can only imagine that is so horrible for you. You could have a fucking breakdown over there.
I kind of did. Like, I did have a breakdown, and like I tried getting a flight home, and I went to the wrong airport, so I couldn't get home. And like, it really upsets me. Like, his friends were downstairs, heard the whole thing, like, saw me leave, like, having a breakdown. And like, none of them checked up on me once. Like, are you okay? There was girls there and everything, like, didn't check up on me once. And like, we had to go the whole journey home. Like, I didn't talk to anyone. I was like literally like by myself. Like, it was a horrible, horrible time. So when I came back, Dubai and Iceland were back-to-back trips. I came back and I was like, am I still going to move now? Like, this was our life plan.
Yeah.
I got the trade name approved and the paperwork all sorted to be called my ex's pet name.
I saw that.
And they came back to me and they said, we presented your profile to the landlords where I was going to be put in. They said they don't want this company. They want the Drunken Cookie. And I was like, if that's not a sign.
Oh my God.
They came to me and they said, you need to change it from the Drunken Cookie because Dubai, culturally, that's not going to work. So I said to my boyfriend at the time, I'm going to call it this. Like, I love you, baby. Like, this is like so cute, romantic.
Yeah.
And then they came back to me and they're like, we don't want it. And I'm like, God, thank you.
How crazy is that? No, how crazy is that? Yeah. I love that.
So I'm taking it as a sign that I should still go for it and I should still move over and everything else. But it's taken some readjusting because I feel like my whole future has just changed now. Yeah. I was so ready to settle down with this person and everything else. And it's just like, kind of changed my outlook on life and like everything else, because like he instantly started following girls and like liking photos and like questioning like, was he cheating on me? Like what, like the self-doubt, and like there was no closure, there was nothing, because I kind of got closure with how he ended things. Like I don't want to have a conversation with you, I don't want to be friends with you now.
No.
You've broken my heart, and I don't know how I'm going to trust again, because literally a few days before, how you tell someone you're my son, my baby, I'm never going to leave you, to breaking up with me is crippling for me.
And I think I know where you're coming from, and like it breaks my heart when I hear anyone saying, you know, how will I ever trust again? And obviously you're still in that situation, obviously you're coming out of it now, but over time, we all have to learn to trust people, because if we don't have trust with at least a couple of people in our life, what do we have? So you do have to find it. And when you deal with people like that, it's like, what was the point of that? Like, what lesson is there to come from that?
Yeah, and that's the thing that kind of scares me as well. I'm just kind of like, he was like, the relationship was really unhealthy, and I'm like, have I been living a different relationship? Like I was like, this is the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. And he was so open and honest and caring. There's no drinking involved, there's no drugs involved. Like, what happened? And it just really shocked me. It came out of nowhere for me. And I don't know, it was so weird. And it was funny, like Mother's Day was like a couple days like before, and I sent his mom like a cake, and I was like, happy Mother's Day, and I was like, thank you so much, like you raised such an amazing son. And I kind of was like, well, I sent her a cake being like, never mind. But I'm just a movie. Like, oh,
no, I would do that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, I'm trying to cope with it. I'm trying to mind myself.
Yeah.
And like, need to put my business first. I need to put my mental health first. So I don't really know where I'm going with it all. But I know I need to make sure, like they say in recovery, like don't make any geographical changes in the first 2 years.
Okay.
Because it could be seen as running away still.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to understand, like, now that we've broken up, now is my motive the same? Because I want to run away from what's going on here, or is it because I want to start the business? So I really just need to question everything.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what I'm doing. But that's just where I am today.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like the Dubai thing sounds like amazing, and like it'd be really good for you.
It would be, but it's like, as you said, like it's huge. It's like I'd be looking for an investment of like 150k, and we potentially have an investor, but that's like a lot of money to be dealing with.
Yeah.
And it's a foreign country, different rules, different regulations, different, like, you know, I know you heard the story about like prisons in Dubai, the mental health services in Dubai, like it's very different.
Do they have AA over there?
Yeah.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do have support there.
Do you know anyone over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I would be safe. I would be okay, but I can't tell the future. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. All I have is today. Do you know what I mean? So right now, my plan is to go, but I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get you. Where did the idea to move to Dubai come from? Was it your previous relationship that was a big factor, or was it something you wanted and your ex-partner said, oh, I'll tag along?
So, yeah, so like my brother's kind of back and forth from there sometimes, and he kind of said in passing, like, oh, I'll move to Dubai, like I'm over here with class. And I was like, yeah, whatever, like. But then when my ex was like, I really want to live abroad, and I was like, I really want to live abroad as well. And when we went to Dubai with my family in January, we were like, this is it for us. Like, he could get a really good job in his career. Like, I really wanted to move there. It was perfect. Like, we'd have somewhere to stay. And it was just because it was him. It was him. It was us. That was the real decider for me.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's why it's kind of kicked me so much that, like, now that I don't have my person with me, is it something that I actually wanted? And that's what kind of scares me as well. It's like questioning myself.
Yeah.
Because I really lack identity, especially as someone who's in early recovery. Like, I don't know who I am sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And like for me, when I was coming out of my struggles with mental health, I was single for 6 years after it. And I definitely look back and I look at anyone I dated in that time, they could have been the most perfect loving person, it would have never worked out because I wasn't where I needed to be. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like, I am in a relationship nearly 2 years, and in the kind of months before I met him, I was like, I'm really happy by myself. Really happy by myself.
I think it's once you get that self-love and that self-care, then everything else will follow. Like you'll attract it.
Yes, you do.
And your vibration is higher and everything else.
Absolutely. And even like the people I attract into my life now, I'm like, I see the energy I was giving off all those years ago. Like, of course I was attracting the wrong person because they were attracting me and I was the wrong person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we were just, like two fucking wrongs don't make a right. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? They make chaos.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. So I definitely know, like, I've heard that with recovery programs, like, that it's important to stay single and don't make the big geographical changes for like the first 1 to 2 years. Yeah. But it's also hard because, like, humans, we get a lot of our purpose from other people.
Yeah.
Do you know?
That's the thing. Like, I'm just trying to like fill the soul right now.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just gonna do me for a while.
Yeah.
I just feel a little bit broken at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, and everyone I'm sure has experienced breakup that really just knocks you.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that this time I usually find solution at the end of a bottle or a line. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't have to do that this time. I didn't have to pick up a blade. I didn't have to do anything. I just have to sit with it.
Yeah. And
for me, that's a testament to my recovery and the hard work I put in for my mental health, because me a year ago would not be able to put up with what I'm putting up with today.
Absolutely.
So I'm happy where I'm at today. Like,
how long have you been sober?
15 months.
15 months, so you're past the year.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
How does that feel?
It's crazy. I couldn't go 1 week. I couldn't go 3 days without a drink. I would wake up Sunday morning, pick up. And this is the thing. People say, you don't look like an alcoholic. You don't look like... It's so much deeper than that. On the way I drank. It's the way I saw solution in alcohol and the places it took me, and the escapism like that. When I wake up, I need a drink, and it's getting back on it and running away from myself because I just couldn't sit with it. But it's just not like that today, and that's such a blessing that I'm not running away from myself.
No,
and I'm able to look at myself and I don't hate what I see, and it wasn't like that. I'm just so grateful for it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I see you take up dance.
Yeah.
Are you teaching dance?
No.
You're just doing dance.
Yeah.
Is it like heels dancing?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. How have you found that? Because it's really, like, in Ireland, if you don't drink, there really isn't that much for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought this up, because dancing has become a part of my recovery.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's become a really empowering thing, because I'm always around the gym. I'm always around boys. I'm quite a masculine energy.
Yeah.
This is a safe space for me, that I get to be feminine, that I feel safe, and I'm surrounded by women that want the best for me. And I want the best for them. And where are you going to find that? Where are you going to find a community of people like that? Sober as well. We're not drunk and we're all, I love you. And it's so genuine. And I love it. And I'm able to feel beautiful. I'm able to feel sexy. Even if I fall over, if I'm having an off day, I'll leave that room feeling 100 times better.
Yeah.
And when I was in the relationship, he would say, why are you shaking your ass on Instagram? Why are you acting like you're single on Instagram? My whole grid was photos of me and him. And I started to question, wait, am I doing the right thing? Is this me?
Yeah.
I doubted myself again, because he was insecure.
Yeah.
And, he would say things, oh, just so you know, my mom and my sister are checking your Instagram page, like a threat. And it's like, can you not see the happiness that this is bringing me?
Yeah.
I'm not twerking on some guy's cock in the club, like, do you know what I mean? I'm literally just dancing and feel good for me. I'm in gym gear. Like, okay, I know there's some days I'll dress up and it's quite sexy, it's quite, like, provocative.
Yeah.
I won't put that up. Fine. He said, no, don't put that up, Saifa, for this reason. Okay, I won't. But, it really came to a head when I just put up one video and I was in my gym gear, and he said, like I'm having, I don't want to get into it too much, but it made me question myself and everything else. And I'm the hindsight again that thank fuck that I didn't step away from something that brings me so much happiness, peace, like joy in a world that's fucking horrible, that I didn't give it up.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's an escape, not an escape. It's like
escape.
It's a feeling. Yeah. It's like I get to, like, you know, there's emotion in dance. Yeah. And it's not just me shaking my ass. Yeah. I'm not doing it for men. It's not for men. Yeah. It's for
why there's
me.
No men in the class.
Yes, exactly. And it's just it's beautiful. Shout out to Bevel Body.
I love it. I love it. I had a heels dance teacher on the podcast. I recorded an episode. And she said she experienced the exact same thing. She was getting texts sent to her of girls in group chats being like, what is she doing? Like, who does she think she is? She was getting like her mom was like had been sent to like or something, or had gotten said to her like, are you doing pole dancing? Like, you know,
and it's so sexualized, and it doesn't need to be like
but
that.
it's the same dancing Beyonce's doing on her tour, and everyone's like, go. Do you know what I mean? No one would be like, that little slut. She has 3 kids. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, absolutely. It's and I'm like you. I, especially with having the business, I find like my masculine energy has just grown and grown and grown. And sometimes I'm like, oh my god, I'm a woman, like put on a skirt and like crank a smile. Please. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean?
You build this like hard shell.
Yeah, and it's so, I actually want to do one of those dance classes because I just love that for Irish girls. Yeah. Doing like that. Like, and as I said, in that episode that I recorded, I was like, when a woman feels sexy, like, if men are holding their women back from feeling sexy, you are cutting yourself off from seeing a side of your woman that you would love.
Yeah, absolutely. And the weird thing is, it's like, I did the dance before I met him. Like, you fell in love with this sunshine. Like, I don't know why I actually met, but anyway. I would encourage it. Like, I remember in the first couple of months of recovery, I put on my story and was like, does anyone know those like dance classes where it's like women dancing in heels and it's really empowering? Like, I need that shit. And like, look at me like a year later, I fucking love it.
I love it.
It's so good for the soul.
I love it so much. I could see you teaching one of those classes.
Well, I do group fitness classes.
Okay.
So I do teach classes,
you do?
but in a different energy, I guess.
A different genre.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you read books?
Yes.
What are you reading at the moment?
I'm reading the Mark Megan book. I actually don't know what the title is. I think This Is Not a Self-Help Book, but it might just help someone. Okay. So good. So he's in recovery as well.
Okay.
And it's really good. Really good. I love like the mental health kind of stuff. Before that I was reading Help by Katrina, I think her name is something. Really good. Again, a recovery book.
I wanted to talk a little bit about, I read an article that you did, I think it was with the Irish Times, and you touched on the riots that happened last November. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I was shocked, the whole country was shocked, how it came to that. And I just want to ask you, as a person of colour, as much as I was horrified about what's happening, I wasn't the target that night. What's that? Or like my, my ethnicity, is that the word? Wasn't the target that night.
Yeah.
What was that like, that night, experiencing that, knowing that if you had gone out that night, you very well could have been harmed?
Yeah, it's scary. And, it was really, I don't know how it came about, do you know what I mean? Racist, big frying war going outside. It just exploded. And that's kind of like, all these racists came out of woodwork. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, where were all these people? And even seeing on TikTok, like, the comments were shocking. Just like these, like, burner accounts being like, yeah, all these blah, blah, blah need to get out of our country. And it's scary.
It was so scary. I remember sitting in my bed being like, this happened 10 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
I couldn't contemplate that, like, that wasn't going on in a war-torn country.
Yeah. Like, it was scary for for the couple of days, like after it, I was a bit like weary about going into town and stuff like that. Like I don't want to get attacked or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think racism is just something I've kind of been. It's there. That's just I have to deal with it. Like
Yeah.
I just have to suck it up, and
which is crap.
Yeah,
I mean, not
it's scary. Yeah, it's not acceptable, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And I hope you don't mind me bringing that up because I want. This is why I started the podcast, is because I want to talk about these things that I feel like are almost getting forgotten about. Like that was
huge,
massive.
Yeah.
Like for our little country, like that is. Like something like a riot would happen in the UK. They're a much bigger country or another, but for Dublin, like imagine if that was a regular thing. We don't have the capacity or the money or the resources to deal with that regularly. And just seeing how quickly people saw an opportunity to turn against each other and they fucking went for it.
But that's the thing, it just went from something that was a very upsetting event to like pointing fingers at each other, and it took away from the actual problem, which was that 3 girls got attacked or whatever it was. Like, just that makes me sad.
Yeah,
that we couldn't actually focus on the problem, became about colour and race.
Yeah, well, that's it. The newspapers the next day, the front page just looked like we had a bad Paddy's Day. It didn't look like it didn't look like innocent children were attacked the day before. Nobody was talking about that. I want to talk a little bit about inflation. It's so. I think it's almost becoming impossible to be a small business in Ireland. You have to get really big to have that revenue coming in, to be able to survive. Even just the rent alone for a commercial property is
crazy,
monumental. I wanted to talk to you about this because I know you were getting hate online for the price of your cookies, which for what they are and what you get are so affordable, by the way.
Thank you.
I've seen people charging a lot more for a lot less. Do you know? How are you doing with that? How are you managing it?
I'm not. I'm like really in debt, so I support the business. I have loans to pay off. I got a big bank loan. Like the equipment didn't come out of the sky. Do you know what I mean? I had to get a HSE approved kitchen. That didn't come out of the sky. So it's like trying to make money back to pay off. It's trying to pay salaries. It's trying to pay electricity, water bill. There's VAT. Employer's tax. I barely make money, to be honest. But I love what I do. I'm grateful to have almost gotten to 3 years now. But if tomorrow I have to close the doors, I gave it a good stab. Do you know what I mean? I gave it 100%. But absolutely, the government are not doing enough for small businesses. There has been so many amazing business owners that have had to close their doors because the economic situation of Ireland is just so poor. And like, people, like, you see it like, oh, $5 for a cookie. It's like, everyone's complaining about the housing crisis. Like, I have to survive as well. How do you think that works? Like, we're all blaming each other. It's like, we need to look somewhere else here. It's not each other to be blaming.
No.
I don't want to be charging that much for a cookie. Absolutely. I would charge €2 if I could. I'd charge cost price if I could. But that's not a business then.
No.
And it's not sustainable. And that's why, like, every once in a while, like, I'll do big giveaways, or like I give a lot to the homeless, and I'll give back when I can. Well, I need to survive, and I have to pay my staff. I have to pay bills. I have to get by, and that is a struggle. That, like, I don't have like but this is going okay. I'm struggling. Like any other small business. And my fear is one day I will have to close my doors because it's not sustainable here.
I think, is that where the move to Dubai as well?
So, like, as in, I'd keep Dublin open. Just so that, like, because I don't want to make people redundant. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to make my team lose a job and whatever else. Like, if it can, what's the word? If it can run itself while the bills are being, and just, like, coast, I'm happy with that. I don't need to make loads of money. But if it's just something that's there, that's success for me. and Dubai, hopefully I could actually earn a living for myself. But that's the plan, and I don't know if that's possible, but
well, I think you're doing fantastic. I know how hard it is. It's really, really fucking hard. But I'm quite like you in that, like, I am just so passionate about my business because I didn't have a purpose for years, and I never really thought I'd get to the point where I'd have something outside of the kind of people I love that I'm like, oh, I love this so much, you know? Like, I never thought I'd have a big fuck off sign with my name, but you know, so that's
it means so much.
It means so much. Like, so I hate to hear of people struggling, but entrepreneurs have something in them. That is why we are entrepreneurs. It's why we start the businesses, is because we're built that bit different. You know,
fire in our belly, like to do more. Yeah,
I'm a bit addicted to the struggle as well. Do you ever feel that?
I love chaos.
I just, like, if I didn't wake up with 50 problems every day, what would I do?
Yeah, the mind would be too quiet. Like, I can't have that.
No, I have to keep it exercise. I have to stress it out a little bit every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is you've been in recovery now for 15 months, you've been clean and sober. You've built the Drunken Cookie from the ground up. What's that one little mantra that you tell yourself? Do you have a mantra that you tell yourself? Is there that little thing?
Yeah, there's a few. Let go, let God is a huge one.
Do you believe in God?
I believe in a higher power.
Yeah.
And then this too shall pass, are the two. No matter how bad it is, it's going to pass. How good it is, it's going to pass. But that just keeps me level. And let go and let God is the same. It's the acceptance. I have no power over people, places, things. I can't control the weather if the business is going to be bad. All I can do is my best. And then God will do the rest for me.
I love it. Saifa, thank you so much. I appreciate you being so open, so honest. It's not easy, even though you naturally are a really open person. You've an amazing story, and I hope the whole world, I hope the whole world gets to hear it, you know? Because you're a real survivor. I was very, very excited to talk to you today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You're fantastic.
Thanks, gal.